Hello, everybody. My name is Shelly Hod, and I'm the founding partner of iAngels. iAngels is an equity crowdfunding platform that allows private investors from around the world to participate in equity funding rounds for early-stage companies in Israel. We're a little bit different than what you're used to seeing here. While we'd love for you to fill the gold sheet and we want to get your feedback, we're actually here to invite people to participate as private investors on our platform and join our community of investors. It's absolutely free. It's the easiest way for us to communicate with you. You sign up on www.iangels.co. So iAngels is in many ways similar to Keiretsu Forum. If I were to go around this room and ask some of you who are the most successful angel investors, I'm sure you'd be able to pick them out. I also have a feeling that you know some of your colleagues and you know their areas of interest and specialty. So you of all people understand the value of group investing. And I think at iAngels, our main goal and what we're really set out to do is take group investing to the next level. Rather than leaving it to chance, we have added an element of data and research to pick out the most successful and the best performing angel investors in Israel so that we can bring them to our investor community and invest alongside them under the same terms. My background is financial. I worked several years on Wall Street, started out as a financial advisor at UBS. Then I moved on to work at Avenue Capital at a hedge fund. I was a research analyst covering financials. Afterwards, I worked with Goldman Sachs for 3 years in the investment banking division. Until I joined iAngels last year. My partner, she's also an analyst by background. She comes from the technology world. She was an 8200 intelligence unit alum in the IDF, an elite intelligence unit in Israel. She studied mathematics and computer science at the Technion. She worked as a developer at SAP for several years, and then she moved to New York. She's done her MBA at Columbia. That's where we met and became great friends. And she became a technology advisor at IBM and afterwards at Amdocs. So we kind of both bring, she brings the technology side and I bring the finance. And in many ways, the financial aspect is still something that's of a major interest for me. I knew that if I was going to start investing in high tech, then I wanted to do it with the smartest people in the room. I wanted to do it with people who have a track record, who have substantial skin in the game, and that know what they're doing. Our first investor and chairman was David Askia. David Askia is Moor's father-in-law. Moor is my partner. He's a high-tech veteran in Israel. He actually founded the first company to go public on the NASDAQ, Magic Software, and ever since he's been a very active angel investor in the enterprise software and fintech space. David brings a lot of years of experience and connections and has opened many doors in approaching some of these angel investors. So let me tell you a little bit about the industry in Israel. There is an abundance of startups and investment opportunities. The problem is that we don't get to see them usually until it's too late. Now at the same time, the buy side, the community of angels is very small, it's very exclusive, only a couple dozens of VCs and a couple dozens of angels that are active in this space. So there are way more opportunities than what they can invest in. And therefore the opportunities that we do see typically in the US are the ones that don't get funded in Israel. And what we bring to you are the opportunities that do get funded by the most successful angel investors in Israel that we usually only see here at round C and D. Now, at the same time, there are many private investors all around the world hearing about Startup Nation, reading about it in the news, wanting to participate, but they don't have access to the best opportunities. And they don't have access in general to a variety of opportunities in Israel. And one of the conversations my partner and I used to have was that with all this access that we had through our family and friends and just the network we've been working in, it would have been so nice if we could have invested at the time a little bit and participated in some of these great success stories, but we didn't have the capital for that. And that's really how the idea of iAngels was born, which is to create an online platform that combines the wisdom of angels with the wisdom of private investors to allow for financing at lower tickets. Everyone can invest at their own comfort level, We have investments ranging from $5,000 to $100,000, with the average being at around $20,000, and really providing a vehicle for people to enjoy the benefits of investing together. When you sign up on iAngels as an accredited investor, you're able to see typically 3 investment opportunities. On each startup page, you'll see our analysis, some of the marketing materials of the startup. You're able to see a webinar, which you're invited to join once we launch the actual opportunity. And on the back end, we do a lot of work on the curation, on the due diligence, on the references, so that we make sure that we're providing you really with some of the best opportunities. Now, we started out by looking at the exits that occurred over the last couple of years. We wanted to work our way backwards. We wanted to understand the industry dynamics, what has been going on over the last couple of years, who was involved, and that way to derive the most successful angel investors and VC investors in the early stage landscape. Actually, our research was published last week on Globes, which is kind of like the Wall Street Journal in Israel, which found that within the 20 most profitable investments in high tech, 75% of them had angel involvement in them. And more than half of those were backed solely by angel investors. So angel investing in Israel is incredibly strong. And the angel community is very, very strong. So here are some of the most profitable investments that occurred over the last couple of years. And we looked at the people that were involved here, and we looked at what other portfolio companies we had. We tried to understand what was their strategy, what companies they invested in, what write-offs did they have, what other companies they have in their pipeline and in the portfolio, in order to really be able to evaluate who were the top performing investors. And then, with the help of David, we reached out actively to each one of these people, one by one, and recruited them to our platform. As you can see, we have presence in almost all of the most profitable exits over the last couple of years. Now, there are 3 main reasons why investing through iAngels presents a compelling value proposition for a VC investor. First of all, investing in Startup Nation in Israel is compelling. Israel is the 2nd largest high-tech ecosystem in the world, and also best performing ecosystem after Silicon Valley. Now, the second one is really our most important value proposition, which is the ability to co-invest with the insiders of the industry, bringing to you the investments that are funded by the top investors in Israel. And lastly, of course, the ability to invest smaller amounts and at the same time enjoy the benefits of investing with a big group, because we come in as a major shareholder, we get information rights and preemption rights, and we provide all of those to our private investors, whether they invested $5,000 or $100,000. Now I'll go through some of these reasons one by one. So a lot of the people in the room probably have heard the story of Startup Nation, and I'm happy to discuss this further for people who aren't familiar with it. But the other part of the story is how capital efficient we are. While the valuations in Israel tend to be much lower, the exits versus the amount of startups that are active in Israel are actually higher in Israel than in the United States. Importantly also, while the average exit in the United States is larger, the amount of funding for the startups in the United States is almost double. So when you look at the value creation ratio, the multiple in Israel is actually higher. So when you invest $1 of VC in Israel, you can actually make more of a profit if you know what to look for and who to follow. Now, our strongest entry point to this market were the angel investors. These angels have joined us because they believe in our vision in bringing in more people and more capital and more perspective from abroad into Israel. A lot of these angel investors have invested in us, in iAngels as a startup, so they have equity in our company, and they're even more incentivized to cooperate with us, as they've been mentoring us since day one and helping us build a company. These are some of the people in our network. The names might not mean much to you, but in Israel they're very famous. When a person wants to start up in Israel, these are the first people they call. We know this because these are the first people that we call. Some of the dominant ones, Gigi Levy, he participated in 4 of the most profitable exits over the last 3 years. He has 3 companies that are on their way to IPO this year, and he's a very, very active and successful angel investor. By having a large network of investors, we're able to benefit from a couple of factors. First of all, similar to Keiretsu Forum, we're able to leverage the combined wisdom of the people in the network. So for example, when we're evaluating a startup, then one of the first phone calls we make is to the rest of the network, even the people that didn't invest. And then we ask them, have you looked at this company? What did you think about them? Why did you decide not to invest with them? And this really helps us assess the risk and the opportunity in any given investment. We call it our 360. Another benefit is the ability to tap the expertise of every single angel investor. Because each investor has his own area of expertise, we're able to learn more about each industry through these channels. For example, Yuval Tal on the bottom right, he is one of the most active and prominent entrepreneurs and angel investors in the payment space. Earlier this year, he took his company Border Free public. He sold the company Plymouth a couple of years ago for $200 million. He's now the chairman of Payoneer, and he has dozens of payment portfolio companies in his portfolio. So he's able to add a lot of value to them. He has a lot of experience. He creates synergies among the companies. And having him in our network gives us a large edge in the payment space. Of course, the most important value to investing with this network is their access. Because they're the most desirable investors, and they're the ones everyone goes to when they're looking for an investment, they see the most opportunities in Israel. And today, even if you're the most smart and shrewd investor, if you don't have access, if you don't know what options you have, how will you know what kind of investments you should be choosing? So the bottom line is that today, if you want to invest in VC, you have a couple of options. You can go alone. If you're going alone, typically the tickets are between $50,000 to $100,000, makes it very difficult to diversify and difficult to choose if you don't have the access. You can also invest through a VC, but here the tickets are extremely higher, $5 million and up for the best funds, and you have no discretion over the investments. Now today, more and more with equity crowdfunding coming to speed, there are more funding platforms that specialize in different areas and different verticals. Today, there's only one company that specializes in in Israeli high tech, while there are hundreds in the US, like AngelS and Funders Club. We know them. The other equity crowdfunding platform that focuses on Israel typically gets you in at later rounds. We bring you in earlier with the top angel investors in Israel. Our model also requires us to have an independent investor that is professional, that is putting out money out of his own pocket and has a track record and no incentives associated with the iAngels transaction. So they're an entirely independent co-investor. And I think with iAngels, we really try to bring you the best of all worlds. On one hand, you're able to choose your investments and create a diversified portfolio with only $50,000 to $100,000. And at the same time, your options are highly curated and highly vetted by a group of prominent angel investors with a very significant track record. We launched earlier this year, and since then we raised $2 million for several portfolio companies. We can tell you about some of the ones we're currently funding. NanoRep, it's a software as a service company which provides self-service support. So for example, when you go online, you can type in a question in free text and get exactly the answer you're looking for, which increases company ROI and enables companies to reduce HR costs and at the same time increase customer service. This was a very, very popular startup in Israel. It was a massively oversubscribed round that a lot of people wanted to join, and we were able to join it because we had angel investors on the board of directors. Another company, Hello Doctor, which is an application that allows people to manage their health online. The CEO recently moved to Silicon Valley, and she's recruited a group of very, very impressive angel investors from Silicon Valley, directors in Facebook, John Malloy, which was one of the first investors in PayPal and in eBay, very involved in this company, and also Gigi Levy, which is an angel investor in Israel. And Big Blue Parrot is actually a company we're co-investing with the Keiretsu Forum chapter in Israel. To access our unique network, our membership is entirely free. So again, you can sign up at any time at www.iAngels.co, and you have automatic access to our deal flow. You can join webinars, ask questions, and begin the engagement. Once you decide to make an investment through iAngels, we charge a 5% administrative fee, which is similar to a load. This is supposed to cover all of our management expenses and all of the due diligence throughout time and the management of the actual investment over the entire investment horizon. And upon exit, there is a 15% carried interest. Now today we're offering a portfolio product that enables investors to commit $100,000 and invest in several companies. And for investors that commit to a portfolio, we waive the 5% fee, and the 15% carried interest is charged on the entire portfolio rather than on an investment by investment basis. And I just wanted to highlight for a second what carried interest is. In case some of you aren't familiar, carried interest means that only upon exit, only upon a liquidation event, we give you back your money, we make you whole, and on the profit, we charge 15% of the profit. We're aware that this is that you're used to a different funding model through Keiretsu, and our funding model is actually very similar to other platforms and even lower. We hope that over the last couple of minutes we managed to show you what kind of value we bring. And we really encourage people who are engaged and like to invest in Israel to join us and take a part of our solution.
Okay, there's a few minutes left for questions. Steve?
Shelly, are you offers as an individual the exact same deal?
Yes, this is actually one of our most important requirements. We come in with an angel that's putting money in for the first time. So if that angel invested in a previous round, we require that a top angel of that caliber invest for the first time with us under the same terms and same share class, everything.
All right. So a couple questions. So one is you're not raising capital to invest in the business. You're looking for numbers of growing 5 and 50. Is that right?
Yes.
Got it. So a couple questions. Typically the fees for VC are not 4 to 6, they're typically 2% in terms of the management. So they're not 5, they're typically 2 and 20 with a preferred return of 2%. On your carried interest, is it a 2% flat or is it 15% period?
It's, first of all, I'll clarify. I guess there was a confusion. Expenses and VCs are typically 4 to 6% spread across annually. So you usually pay, in addition to the 2% management fee you pay yearly, you usually pay an additional 50 basis points of expenses. So if your VC is charging you 2 to 2.5% a year, then you're actually paying around 20% total, and while we pay 5% one time. So our management fee component is about 25% of what you typically pay in a VC. And currently there's no high watermark on the carried interest.
And you're not taking investment in business, you're just looking for angels to invest.
We are actually looking for an investment currently, but for this forum, we decided to focus on one aspect of the business. If this is an area of interest, then I'd be happy to continue the dialogue.
I'm just curious, on the portfolio thing, you say 15% of the entire exit, that then paid at the last investment?
Once we cover your capital commitment.
So it may not be the last investment.
It could not occur. It could be on the third or on the fourth or. Well, if you covered your entire capital commitment.
And then it drew up at the end. Then you do the true up at the end.
Right. Once we make you whole, then we start taking the 15%. 50%.
Your last investment, total loss, you might call what's that?
Well, if we're at a.
Going,
Following up quickly, Shelly, what differentiates you from other angel investment groups as well, and what people that are on your particular group, the lead investors, they may be also advisors in other groups. Is there something that prevents them?
They're not in other groups. Actually, nobody does this in Israel, which is to partner with the leading angel investors in Israel. These angel investors, they're friends among themselves, so they do business with one another. They often invest together, they close deals together. A lot of these deals close very, very fast. It's almost like an old boys network. But there's no angel group that does what we're doing. There are angel clubs, but they're a little bit different.
Okay, we're out of time. Thank you very much.